Good morning, Tampa Bay. Channelside Sports in the morning. Mike was muted. It's like Monday problems on a Thursday. Come on, guys. It's almost like how the Tampa Bay Lightning looked last night, right? It's not a very good look for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but don't panic. If you're a Lightning fan, do not panic. They had 9 days off. What do you expect? The New York Rangers are the youngest remaining team in the NHL playoffs currently. It was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. Anybody who's played professional sport, you knew it was going to happen because it was just too long of a drought for them to actually play playoff hockey. You can practice all you want. You can do scrimmages, but it doesn't ever translate. 9 days was just too long. Had the Rangers or the Hurricanes, for that matter, finish the series in 5-6 games, I think we're looking at a different outcome. Nonetheless, don't panic. The Lightning have been here before. It's nothing new. We know how they respond after a loss, undefeated after a loss in the playoffs during this 3-year stretch. They're doing fine. Was it a little more one-sided and lopsided than we wanted? Sure, it was. We can't complain about the penalties. The Lightning just looked slow. And I think that's where the big issue was, is that they just looked slow. Having such a long period of time off, the team being outskated for icing calls on many occasions, especially in the first period, I did not expect that. That was not something that I was anticipating. I was not thinking that, okay, yeah, they're going to get outskated. I know the Rangers are younger, as I said earlier. I get that. But they just looked out of sorts. They didn't look like the Tampa Bay Lightning, the team to beat Tampa Bay Lightning that we saw in Game 7 of the Maple Leaf series and in all of the games against the Florida Panthers. That's not the team that we saw last night. All of the veteran leadership on the team, I don't see them if they're going to lose another game. I don't see them getting blown out like they did last night. That's not I can't predict that. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. I wouldn't be broadcasting here. But losing in the fashion that they did just shows rust. Because I don't believe the Rangers are a better team. I don't. Chris Kreider scores within the first minute to open it up. What I do find very strange is that Hard Rock Sportsbook predicted that. Hard Rock Sportsbook had Chris Kreider as the favorite to score the very first goal in Game 1. Completely crazy. Another thing that I've noticed last night, the second period, a lot of time was spent in their own zone on defense. If you watch hockey, you know that bad things happen if you do not clear the puck. I say it pretty much every time I talk about hockey. If you don't clear the puck and give your goaltender a rest, it does not matter how good he is. You're going to dent the armor, and eventually the opposing team's offense will score. Doesn't matter if it's Vazzy. Doesn't matter if it's Brodeur, Patrick Waugh. It doesn't matter who's in goal. Bad things are going to happen if you do not clear the puck. There was a series where Sergachev was on the ice for 2.5 minutes. That's unacceptable. Like, you can't be... it's crazy that you can't clear the puck and you're having those issues. This was an issue against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I see a lot of similarities in the way that this game was played in the same sense that I saw in Game 1 against the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. So I'm not panicking. We've got so much experience. 10 straight playoff series wins. They're tied with the Montreal Canadiens as the only team to do that in NHL history, and this team has been around since '92. Think about that for just a second. This team knows how to overcome. They've got the leadership in Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman, Nikita Kucherov. They've got all of these players, Corey Perry, Pat Maroon, who's won 3 Stanley Cups in a row. Like, they've got all of these leaders that know how to overcome the situation that they're in. And plus, they've got a damn good coach in John Cooper who will make the adjustments that are needed to get this team over the hump and hopefully take game 2 tomorrow night in New York City. I get it. It's disheartening. It's upsetting. We waited 9 days to watch the Lightning play again, and for a little while, it was close. You had the Stammer and the Andre Palat goal to tie it up 2-2. But look, it happens. It's good. There's nothing that you can do about it. Game 1 is over. You got to move on to game 2. You have to make the adjustments. Watch your game film. Braden Point participated yesterday in the optional skate. I don't know if he will be back for game 2. I don't think anybody knows that outside of him and the medical staff for the Lightning. I would assume that he would probably be back game 3, although the competitor in him probably wants to come back for tomorrow's game 2 after what happened last night. Rangers fans, are you guys really going to chant Igor is better? Is that a thing? Like, you really believe that Igor Shesterkin is better than Andrei Vasilevsky? Even the most idiotic New Yorker doesn't believe that. Igor's not yet anyway. Igor's not even in the same breath as Henrik Lundqvist. He's not. And Vazzy's better than Lundqvist, so I get it. You're in the moment. As Bolts by the Bay tweeted last night, chants never backfire against the Rangers, right? We'll see about that. All I know is that you don't want to piss off a big cat. They call Andrei Vasilevsky the big cat for a reason. You don't want to piss him off. He's already pissed off, first of all. I guarantee you, after only allowing 4 goals in like the last 150 shots to allow 6 goals, I'm sure that he is ready to he's ready to strap this team to his back and just say, hey guys, give me a little more effort. I'll take care of the rest. A brawl to close the game also reminded me of, I guess, brawl. But the little skirmish to close the game reminded me of the same way that the game 1 loss against Toronto Maple Leafs went too. We had the same exact thing at the end of the game. That's good. Fire yourselves up. Fire your team up. You need to solidify yourself. You need to stand your ground. You need to say, hey, we're the champs. The cup runs through us. The cup runs through Tampa Bay. You want the cup, you got to beat us for it. And we got to stop beating ourselves. We've got to clear the puck. That's the biggest thing. Clear the puck. Vazzy's a good enough goalie to where you clear the puck, that's fine. He's top 4 goalie of all time possibly already. TNT said that, not me. I might agree with it, but I didn't start that trend, okay? I think tomorrow will be a different story. I'm not going to give a score prediction because I was way the hell off. It wasn't even close. We assumed that the Rangers wanted to have a closer game. But, blowouts are always welcome, no matter which team you are. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow is going to be a different story. Now that they've got game speed, they're back up to game speed. That's what it boils down to. When you see all of these players, whether doesn't matter if it's hockey, basketball, football, it doesn't matter what the sport is. If let's say you're coming back from an injury and you're practicing, you're taking part in scrimmages, that's great. You're working up to it, but there is no no way to account for game speed when you're at that level, unless you're playing in a game. 9 days off, don't worry about it. Don't hit the panic button. Everything will be okay. Tomorrow night will be a different story. Look for the Lightning to take back the home ice advantage as the series heads back to Tampa Bay for a Sunday game. Speaking of which, the Rays finally get a win. Finally. Did you notice? I just noticed this as I'm going through my notes here. So in the last series, the Tampa Bay Lightning played the Florida Panthers. Tampa Bay Rays played the Detroit Tigers. Cats. Am I alone here? They're both playing the Rangers right now. Like, what are the odds of that? All of these baseball teams, all of these hockey teams, and they're both playing the Rangers. Anyway, G-Man Choi, I'm not allowed to show the video clip, but if you go to Bally Sports Rays on Twitter, the ending series of that double was extremely weird. There's a check swing. Cash gets ejected. There's a huge swing and a miss. Helmet flies off, and then he gets a double. It took 11 games, but they finally got one over on the Texas Rangers, which, like I said, to me, for a team that is supposed to be a contender with the Tampa Bay Rays, it's scary that we're seeing this level of inconsistency. Any win is a good win, especially when you're heading into the summer months. But when you're losing to teams that you're supposed to beat, when you're down 1-2 in the series to the Rangers, when you lose the first game of the series to the Tigers, when you're losing games that you're not supposed to lose, that's the part where you're trying to figure out, like, what is going on? What is wrong? How do we fix this? We're not seeing a whole lot in lineup changes and things for the Rays to adjust these inconsistency issues. So just keep trucking along. Maybe it'll work itself out. Maybe it will backfire and we'll be in trouble. 2 p.m. today, we'll wrap up the series against the Rangers. We have Corey Kluber on the mound against Taylor Hearn. Kluber's not having the greatest season as it is right now. He is 1-2 on the season with a 4.03 ERA. Hearn is 3-3 with a 5.36 ERA. Just leaving a lot of they're leaving so many runners stranded. The Rays are, and I think that's where your biggest concern and your biggest issue is the Rays have the lowest runs and runs against differential in the entire league for a team that's above 500. They've scored 8 more runs than they've allowed on the entire season, and they're hanging on to being above 500. The lowest team, for clarity, the lowest team is the Philadelphia Phillies. They have scored 1 more run than they have allowed on the season. They're 22-29. That's your difference. You've got the Phillies at +1, and then the second worst team in terms of differential is the Tampa Bay Rays. When you start deep diving into these stats, that's where you start to realize, and you start to understand where the inconsistencies are. We have to talk about this way too often of the bats are not really waking up. If the Rays break out for 5+ runs, it's like a holy shit moment. I can't believe they scored 5 runs. 5 runs isn't that much. When you look at a team like the New York Yankees, they've outscored their opponents by 71 runs this season. I know we don't want to be compared to the Yankees because we don't like the Yankees. But the fact is the New York Yankees are currently the team to beat. The entire AL East is 5-5 in their last 10 games. Except the Toronto Blue Jays, who are 8-2, and they're currently on a 7-game winning streak. The Rays obviously are in third place. They're half a game behind the Toronto Blue Jays, and they're 5.5 games behind the New York Yankees. They have this game today at 2 p.m. to close out the series, and then they will host the Chicago White Sox. The Yankees had trouble with the White Sox this season, so maybe this is where the Rays can start righting the wrongs. I know I feel like we've been saying that almost every series. This is where they can right the wrongs. However, this is nature of the beast when it comes to the Tampa Bay Rays. Wherever they are, they're going to have a run towards the end of the season. These are things that we can count on almost religiously with this Tampa Bay Rays team. The end of the season, they'll finish strong. They do it every year. I would like them to be closer, if not tied with the division leader of the AL East, whether that's going to be Yankees or the Toronto Blue Jays if they continue their streak, before they start their end of the season run that we have grown accustomed to. This is my hope for this Tampa Bay Rays team. They need to figure it out sooner rather than later, close that gap, finish the way that they always finish, and they can win the AL East. It's not an unforeseeable event for that to happen. You have the Yankees mid-month, and then you have the Yankees again at the end of the month. Figure your shit out. You split the series with the Yankees before to open or to end May. Let's figure this out now. Go on a little streak and then win the series. Win the first series against the New York Yankees. Win it 2-1, win it 3-1. However many games that they have, I'm totally spacing out right now as far as the amount of games because it's too far in the future. Win that series. Solidify yourself as we figured it out, and we are now going to be the team to beat in the AL East. Because the Red Sox look like they're starting to figure it out. The Orioles are too far gone. We're not worried about the Orioles. But you have to worry a little bit about the Red Sox, don't you? They are the Red Sox. They spend a lot of money. They spend way too much money to be this bad. The Blue Jays, we thought were going to be good. The Yankees always should be good with the payroll that they have. They just have a ridiculous payroll. They should always be towards the top. Just ask any Yankee fan about it. They'll tell you. And then there's the Rays. The Rays don't spend any money. The Rays get shit done. The Rays are always in the contention. The Rays are always towards the top of the division. Always going to make the playoffs. It's time to move on. It's time to get it done. It's time to change things around and get it done. Win this game today. Kluber's on the mound. 2 p.m. first pitch. Get it done, and let's move on. Let's start moving back up. Let's take over second place. We're only a half game behind the Blue Jays. Take second place back over. Then set your sights on first and keep going. First place is very attainable by the end of June. When you're playing the first place team in 2 series, it's very attainable. Make it happen. Please. In other somber news, not Bucks related, but this I feel this definitely needs to be talked about. Rest in peace to Marion Barber III, former Dallas Cowboy, did play 1 season with the Chicago Bears at the end of his career. Passed away at the age of 38. This is the second NFL player that has passed away just kind of like abruptly. The cause of death currently is unknown for Marion Barber, but I watched a lot of Marion Barber play. I really enjoyed watching his old school hard-nosed style of hitting. And he was a contact first running back, and he was fun to watch. He wasn't the fastest. He was beast mode before Marshawn Lynch was beast mode. If you needed to have a comparison to help you understand how Marion Barber played the game. 4,780 rushing yards, 53 touchdowns on 1,156 carries in 99 career games. You will be missed, Marion. I own a Marion Barber jersey, number 24 for the Dallas Cowboys, the Thanksgiving jersey, though, by the way. I'm a jersey guy. I like jerseys. I saw that DM there, Jay. I like jerseys. Relax. EA Sports released the Madden cover for Madden 23. There's 3 covers, and they could not be any better. Take a look at these bad boys. You've got the All Madden edition on the left, and these are the cover. This is how the covers should have been, and they are perfectly done. I'm so glad that John Madden is back on the cover. I know the Madden cover athlete thing has been a huge talking point and a huge story for such a long time. Madden curse, whatever you want. But look, it's for me, this is nostalgic, right? This is what it boils down to for me is that it's just great to see John Madden. When you look at, for me anyway, when I look at it, I know the All Madden edition was the very first cover of John Madden football. For me, the John Madden that I most remember is the middle. I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 86, so when you're 4, you don't really remember things. But I grew up in the 90s. That's the John Madden I most remember. In the middle there, I remember whether it's commentary, whether it's being on the video game cover or inside the video game itself. This is, these are great John Madden memories. And I couldn't be any more excited that John Madden is back on the cover of Madden. We'll talk about gameplay on a different show. Lack of career. We'll talk about. We can talk in depth about Madden and things that they could use to make a change. We've got a new show on the Channelside Sports Network. It will be hosted by myself. It will be a pop culture show because we aim to have many things that tie into our community in Tampa Bay here. The show is called Please Rewind. If this tickles your fancy, Please Rewind Pod on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm a huge nostalgic junkie. I'm a huge video game guy. I love pop culture. I'm a geek at heart. I mean, you see all of the, I'm going to try to do this way. You see all of my nerdiness in the background here. That's me at my heart. I'm a sports guy who's also very in touch with his inner geek, whether my wife is embarrassed by that or not. Moving on. We have to talk about this. Pro Football Focus has released their top 20 running backs in the NFL. I'm going to run through this list. We already know, based off of the picture, his absence, Leonard Fournette is not on the list. Jonathan Taylor being ranked number 1. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Jonathan Taylor being ranked number 1. There are not very many bell cows in the NFL any longer. Jonathan Taylor is one of them, and he is damn good at doing it, and he is virtually unstoppable, as we saw last season. Nick Chubb at number 2 is kind of a surprise because I really just automatically always assume that it's going to be Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, interchangeable at 1 and 2. Nick Chubb at number 2 is, I'm not mad at it. I think Nick Chubb being listed as the second best running back in the NFL, that's not That's not a slight at Derrick Henry. We're not really sure how Derrick Henry is going to fully return next season. Will he be able to handle 25 plus carries a game? Will he be the Derrick Henry of old? Christian McCaffrey at number 4. I don't know how I feel about Christian McCaffrey at number 4. I think Christian McCaffrey is over the hump of his career. I think he is going to be on the downside of his career. I've made parallels and comparisons very often to Todd Gurley. I think that Carolina has essentially just run this poor man into the ground, and I don't think he will be able to come back. He's been too injured too often, for better or for worse. You know, he's had a great career, and I think his career is we've seen his best days are behind him. I don't think we see the Christian McCaffrey that we have grown accustomed to, nor do I think we see a Christian McCaffrey that should be the 4th best running back in the NFL. Dalvin Cook at number 5. I'm okay with Dalvin Cook at number 5. He is injured a lot, but when he is on the field, he is an absolute game-changing running back. He is a difference maker. He can burn you running the ball and catching the ball. Don't worry, we'll get to Leonard Fournette here in a minute. Alvin Kamara at number 6. I know I'm not supposed to be an Alvin Kamara fan. As a Tampa Bay sports host, I love Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is a fantastic running back. He is a do-it-all back. Alvin Kamara essentially ran Mark Ingram out of New Orleans when Mark Ingram was still a very good running back. I'm okay with Alvin Kamara being listed as number 6. Aaron Jones at number 7. So if Pro Football Focus is ranking their running backs the same way they ranked their interior defensive linemen yesterday with wins above replacement, I have a huge issue with Aaron Jones being listed as the number 7 running back, simply because A.J. Dillon in Green Bay is not a huge step down from Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon is not listed here in the top 20 running backs. So I don't understand. I'm not understanding why Aaron Jones is listed so high. Austin Eckler at number 8. I think that's fair for Austin Eckler. I think last season he was a benefactor of Justin Herbert taking that next step into the almost elite quarterback category. Maybe he has maybe it's a balancing out season this year where he has a good season, but it's not going to be a great season. Joe Mixon at 9. Fine with Joe Mixon being listed at number 9. He's a solid running back on a very good and very potent offense. Maybe there is a little backtrack for the offense this season as defenses are now very much aware that Jamar Chase will burn your ass on the outside. And hopefully the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is very much aware that Jamar Chase will burn them on the outside. Josh Jacobs running out the top 10. I don't like it. I like Josh Jacobs, but I don't like Josh Jacobs at number 10. He's too injured. He doesn't play nearly enough. If we're looking at this top 10 list, Josh Jacobs misses a lot of games. Christian McCaffrey misses a lot of games. Dalvin Cook misses a lot of games. Like why are we ranking these running backs so high in hopes? I know you're not supposed to draft in fantasy. You're not supposed to draft based upon injury. You would never catch me drafting Christian McCaffrey. I'll let some other schmuck draft Christian McCaffrey. Same with Josh. Josh Jacobs is largely available when it comes to most fantasy football teams. Why is he in the top 10 is crazy to me. Najee Harris being number 11, I find insane when I look at the players that are listed above him. Najee Harris is the guy and the only guy in Pittsburgh. He's one of the 3 bell cows left in the NFL, and he's number 11. That's moving on. Number 12, Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is a very, very, very good running back. They brought back Melvin Gordon in Denver, so he's going to continue to probably split time. Will it be a 50-50 split like it has been? Maybe, maybe not. There's no real way of telling now. I do think Javonte Williams takes that next step forward. He did have the most broken tackles for running backs who ran more than, I think it was 200 carries over the last season. Saquon Barkley is at number 13. That's a lot of respect for Saquon Barkley. I like Saquon. I hope that he bounces back. I don't see it with the New York Giants offense. And I think that's the issue for Saquon, is that he's not in the right system to fully recover from that injury, because he needed to be 100% on game one when he returned last year, and he wasn't. And there is your issue if you're the New York Giants. All of their wide receivers are all of their wide receivers are terrible. Sterling Shepard is your best wide receiver, and he plays like 5 games a season. Kenny Golladay has not been the same since he faked his injury in Detroit to get out of Detroit. Kadarius Toney, sure. He had one good game last season. He was a rookie last season. I get it. And I know sorry, Gators fans. But look, I don't know. Andrew sent me the laughing emoji. I know Andrew is a New York Giants fan. I appreciate you sticking with the slander of the New York Giants in this segment. But look, is Daniel Jones the guy in New York? I don't know. I don't think New York knows if Daniel Jones is the guy for New York. And I think that's where the problem starts for the Giants, is they don't know who is the guy. I think they should have traded Saquon Barkley in the offseason. I think the Miami Dolphins made a huge mistake not trading for Saquon Barkley. He was tied to the Dolphins for quite some time. Chris Carson at number 14. I like this simply for the fact that Russell Wilson is gone. I like Chris Carson being listed somewhere in the top 20. I think he might even be a little bit low. He's often injured, though, too. So it's difficult. Chris Carson will, without a doubt, have more depending on him this season than he ever has in his NFL career. Because Drew Lock is not nearly as good as Russell Wilson, not even in the same breath. Kind of like Igor and Vazzy, if you want to tie it back to the Bolts. But Chris Carson he's going to be largely dependent on this season, and I just don't know if he's able to stay. I don't know if he's able to stay healthy, and I think that's where your issue is going to be. Ezekiel Elliott, all the way at 15. I remember a time where Ezekiel Elliott was consistently listed in the top 5. The Cowboys have also kind of ran him into the ground. Tony Pollard has taken a huge leap ahead, and this is something that is, look, if you're a Cowboy fan, you have Dak Prescott, sure. You got rid of Amari Cooper. You don't have your number 1 wide receiver any longer. Amari Cooper is gone. And your best running back is the 15th best running back in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. That's not a good look if you're the Dallas Cowboys. That's a great look if you're the Eagles, the Giants, the Commanders, right? But that's not a good look if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. James Conner at 16. I like James Conner. I liked him when he took over for Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh. I like that he essentially he essentially took over the starting running back role for the Cardinals. And when Chase Edmonds went down, James Conner took the ball and he absolutely ran with it. And he is the reason why Chase Edmonds is now with the Miami Dolphins, and he's the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals. I like the nod. I like James Conner being I like James Conner exactly where he is. Not a top 10 guy, little towards the end of the list, but still getting some respect. Damian Williams in New England. I'm okay with Damian Williams being there. I think Damian Williams is largely underrated. And I think he's underrated simply for the fact that they've got a lot of freaking running backs in New England. They've got 3 guys that are regularly taking carries. Will we see Damian Williams take over the majority of those carries this season? That remains to be seen. But having him listed on here, I'm okay with. Miles Sanders at 18. Here's where the list starts to get shaky for me, okay? If we've got Damian Williams, Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, and Devin Singletary on this list, how do you not have Lombardi, Lenny Fournette on this list? He doesn't have his number. Ronald Jones is gone. He's no longer going to split carries with Ronald Jones. You really think that he's going to split carries with Giovanni Bernard or Keyshawn Vaughn? I don't see that. He stepped up. He earned the nickname Playoff Lenny and then Lombardi Lenny for a reason. He steps up. Is he a 3-down, do-it-all back? He doesn't need to be. And maybe that's why he's missed the list. But then you look at somebody like Devin Singletary, who's number 20. We still don't know who the running back in Buffalo truly is. You mean to tell me that there's 20 running backs that are better than Leonard Fournette in the NFL? I don't buy it. I would rather have Leonard Fournette on my team at this point than I would Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, Zeke. How do you not have Leonard Fournette in the top 20 is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I don't understand why he's like, where is he? Is he 21? Like where? Of course, the list stops at 20, but like where is Leonard Fournette on this list? So the question is is Lombardi Lenny snubbed? Absolutely, Leonard Fournette has been snubbed on this list. You cannot tell me that Devin Singletary, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, Damian Harris, Ezekiel Elliott, Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones. You can't tell me that these running backs are better than Leonard Fournette. He is consistent. Leonard Fournette is now the sole number 1 running back in Tampa Bay. By the way, Tampa Bay is also the second favorited team to win the Super Bowl, according to every sports book, according to Pro Football Focus, who made this list. And it's just mind-boggling that you do not have the running back 1 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who is going to catch a shitload of passes. He's going to run the ball a lot. And he's not in your top 20? That to me is absolutely crazy. It's like I said, if you want to interchange, move some guys around, move Derrick Henry to 2, Nick Chubb to 3, whatever. But Leonard Fournette not being on this list is ridiculous. There's no reason for Leonard Fournette to be left off of this list, especially if you're telling me that you're using wins above replacement. You can't tell me that you're using wins above replacement when you have a guy like Aaron Jones listed at number 7, because he's not winning above A.J. Dillon often enough to be considered a huge win above replacement gap. Leonard Fournette is the reason why Ronald Jones is gone from Tampa. That and Ronald Jones can't hang on to the ball. But Leonard Fournette is largely the reason why Ronald Jones is gone. Giovanni Bernard, in the twilight of his career, is brought in to give Leonard Fournette a breather. Keyshawn Vaughn is there if shit hits the fan and somebody gets injured. Keyshawn Vaughn is not going to take snaps from Leonard Fournette. Giovanni Bernard is not going to take snaps from Leonard Fournette. A.J. Dillon, on the other hand, is going to take snaps from Aaron Jones. Josh Jacobs is probably not going to play the full season. Chris Carson, probably not going to play the full season. But somehow we have playoff Lenny, Lombardi Lenny, Leonard Fournette, not listed in our top 20. Let's move on to a nicer topic. Old guys beat young guys. If you know, you know. Now, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers defeated Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in the match. Capital One, the match. Of course, it was a 12-hole playoff that benefited Feeding America, who's the nonprofit's goal is to provide nutritious food to all communities across America. So obviously, it was for a good cause. This was extremely entertaining. There was plenty of trash talking, not only between the players, not only between the four guys that were playing, but J.J. Watt and Charles Barkley were getting in on it as they were on commentary, and it was a great thing to watch. You can watch the replay on the TNT app. I would definitely recommend doing it if you got a few hours to check it out. Josh Allen brought out a golf ball with the infamous Tom Brady combine picture printed on it, which started all of the trash talking. Tom Brady then brought out a ball with the Vince Lombardi Super Bowl trophy printed on it and asked, obviously Patrick Mahomes is one of it. He said to Josh Allen, "Hey, have you ever seen one of these?" It's good stuff. To me, it's just, I like it. Aaron Rodgers hit a 15-foot putt on the 12th hole, which gave the old guys the win by a stroke. They'd been basically at a draw all the way through. I hate that it had to be Aaron Rodgers, though. I really do. But it was for a good cause, and like I said, it was extremely entertaining. Go out of your way, check it out. If you need a laugh, you need to lighten up your day a little bit, go ahead, take a look at it because it was entertaining. I'm getting into golf myself. Shout out to Andrew, even though you're a Giants fan. Getting into golf, enjoying it. I like watching, especially when it comes to charity events. I'm a huge charity guy, and Feeding America does a lot of great things for a lot of people, and I couldn't be happier with the amount of money that they have raised. The All Sports Culture has released the best sports player in each city where there is a Big Four team playing, I guess is the word I'll use. We're not going to go through all of them. And I wasn't sure because if you look down at Tampa, you see Andre Vasilevsky is listed as the best sports player here in the city of Tampa. I don't know how I feel about that. And this isn't me talking, oh, well, there's still a guy named Tom Brady that's playing. And so when I saw Vazzy listed there, I had to kind of dive a little deeper and start looking at other cities. Okay, well, how is this outdated? Okay, no, I see Devontae Adams. He's listed there for Las Vegas. Tyreek Hill's listed for Miami. We really have Andre Vasilevsky listed above Tom Brady. I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it, but it just, to me, it's interesting that we've got a guy who is, I don't even think Vazzy's in the prime of his career. I think Vazzy is still right on the cusp of hitting his prime. I think next year might be like the start of the prime of his career. He hasn't been in the league very long. And maybe that's where we're looking at it is okay, well, Vazzy hasn't really hit the prime of his career. Tom Brady is basically in the last season of his year or the last season of his career. Maybe that's why we've got Vazzy pictured. Like I said, it's not a slight at Vazzy, but it's just to me, it's crazy when you've got Tom Brady, who is literally the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL, who is not listed as the best sports player in the city of Tampa Bay. I guess that goes to show you how rich our history is. How we shout out to Brandon Gunn, my old gridiron on tap buddy. We've got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to great players in the great city of Tampa sports. Which brings me to my last and final point, which I want to touch on very briefly. We are going to start including Orlando Magic in our coverage. They are technically our local basketball team. A lot of things could be very exciting going forward as they've got the number 1 overall pick. Of course, the Orlando Magic when they have the number 1 overall pick, they do pretty damn good with it. They've drafted Shaquille O'Neal. They drafted Chris Webber, who they ended up trading on draft night to get Anthony Hardaway. And then, oh, by the way, they've drafted Dwight Howard. So kind of to piggyback off this, greatest player in each city debate, I want to know who you think the greatest player in Orlando Magic history is. Is it Shaq? Is it Penny? Dwight Howard? Tracy McGrady? Nick Anderson? I want to know from you, and we will discuss this tomorrow. I'm going to put out a poll. I'm going to put out a series of polls today on our Twitter account. We've got a lot of great conversations to have between us, the fans. So let's have them. Why not? Let's have these conversations. Let's debate. Who's the greatest player the Magic have ever had on their team? Can't be Grant Hill. Could have been Grant Hill had he not been injured. Does Penny Hardaway does he make the statement for her? Or was his career cut too short, too early? A lot of great conversations we can have. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, Channelside Sports, CH Side Sports on the Twitter machine. You can go ahead. You can follow me if you want, Real Danny B. Of course, like I said, we have our pop culture show, Please Rewind. That is going to be starting. It will not be live. It will be a video series and an audio podcast series as well. Maybe we'll do it live if you guys enjoy it enough. I can't wait to talk more about Madden on that show, so please give that thing a follow over there. Please Rewind Pod. So many good things. Oh, and by the way, Channelside Sports in the Morning will be undergoing a little bit of a makeover. Starting next week, we will be live every morning at 8 a.m. Why 8 a.m., you ask? Because you're already at work at 9 a.m. Do I want you to ignore your coworkers and hang out with me and hang out with Channelside Sports? Absolutely. Is it more feasible for you to hang out with us and listen to the show while you're getting ready for work or commuting to work? It's way more realistic. I've got a new name I'm going to unveil for you guys, too. No longer Channelside Sports in the Morning. We're going full force. We're revolutionizing this thing. We're bringing people on. We've got a lot of great things that we are going to be doing. Roxana likes it. She's biased because she's my wife, and I appreciate the biasness. I love it. I love you. I love all of the fans, the city of Tampa. Tomorrow we are going to have Henry from Bolts by the Bay come on in the morning and preview game number 2 for us. Got a great show. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, smash the like button, drop some comments, share it with your friends, tag it with your friends. Let's get ready. Let's get pumped for game number 2 tomorrow. Tampa Bay Lightning, New York Rangers, Eastern Conference Finals. That's going to do it for us. Channelside Sports in the morning. I am